Hello again.
All right, I'll call to order this regular City Commission meeting of Monday, September 15th. All please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I did forget my land acknowledgement paper, but I'm going to try and wing it the best I can after all this time. So I want to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the territory of the Ottawa and Chippewa peoples who have stewarded this land through the generations. We thank them for their strength and resilience and inspiring us to continue to do the same. So with that, we will continue on to our agenda and do a roll call. We'll look to you, Sarah.
Commissioner Shaw?
Here.
Commissioner Trotwell?
Here.
Commissioner Anderson?
Here.
Commissioner Stanley?
Here.
Commissioner Werner?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilson?
I'm here.
Mayor?
Here. And I just want to take a moment before we get into announcements and our proclamations, although one of ours kind of ties into this, is we know that we live in a very sometimes troubling society, sometimes very inspiring. And so in the face of what's been happening in our country in the last couple of weeks, I just wanted to say how refreshing it was and how wonderful it was to see our community come together in so many ways the last few days. On Friday, we had the Freshwater Innovation Center groundbreaking. That's going to be education and business that focuses on our blue and green technologies, that really honors what we do here in a respectful way. We had the Know Your Rights, I guess it was workshop or gathering at the library from our Human Rights Commission, doing the work to make sure people are feeling informed and safe and know where they're at with everything going on at the federal, state, and local levels. We had our mural festival. Thank you to the Arts Commission for that. It's still kind of going on, but it's been amazing to see everybody out there on 8th Street working and all the beautiful creations coming from it. And we thank Central Neighborhood for opening up their neighborhood for Porch Fest for another great year. Continues to impress even more and more every year. I think I've been to every one now and watching how it's formed and perfecting and continue to perfect. And it just made me want to reflect here today on how grateful I am for our community, how grateful I am for our bodies that do all this great work, and the people who live here that also try to bring us together in such positive ways. So I just wanted to make that comment before we got started in light of a lot of the things that have been happening in the world. We have an imperfect piece of land here that we're always going to try and make better, but we have a lot of people doing a lot of good work. So with that, I will now move over to announcements from the city manager.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. I just wanted to share a few things. First, that the city has launched an updated interactive parking map. It's now featured on our website, and each parking space is individually marked and includes information such as time limits, payment types, rates, and special features like ADA accessibility, EV charging, and fire lanes. So check that out. And then the city just recently submitted 2 grant applications. One is for $1.44 million to support the planning and design for the full reconstruction of 14th Street from Division to Lake. And then the second is for $445,000, which funds the Complete Connections Program, which is a citywide ADA transition plan. I sort of alluded to this effort in my August 4th comments. And that'll also design new mid-block crossings downtown. I'm excited for that. The North Boardman Lake District is taking on a new creative look that went underway this past weekend with Traverse City's first Mural Festival. And I do want to thank the Arts Commission and the DDA staff, particularly Lauren at the DDA, for their dedication toward this transformative public art initiative. The Cape Seal project is completed, and that means over 4 miles of roads were improved, mostly in residential neighborhoods last week. And as many folks are aware, the Griffin Street reconstruction project started today. And then I just want to extend a thank you to residents for their patience as we continue to improve infrastructure throughout the city. And we are working collectively as a team to just drive up the communication efforts surrounding those improvements. And that's all that I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll move on to announcements from the interim city clerk.
Thank you. Meetings scheduled for this week are, I believe the Arts Commission will meet this Wednesday, September 17th at 3:30.
No, we are not meeting.
Nope, okay. So Arts Commission is not meeting this week. Scratch that. Okay, the Brown Bridge Advisory Committee is meeting this Thursday, September 18th at 5:15 in the training room, and the DDA board will meet this Friday, September 19th at 9 a.m. in the chambers. And of course, we're always looking for applicants for our boards and commissions. We have seats open or coming open on the following boards: Local Officers Compensation Committee, Brown Bridge Advisory Committee, Housing Commission, and Planning Commission. And I would just like to remind everybody to speak into the microphones for those watching at home, and the recording is easily heard. Thank you.
Thank you. So we've got a couple proclamations today. I'm going to start with the International Day of Peace. Tim, if you want to join me up at the podium.
Seen you before.
Yeah, we've seen each other around. So, as I mentioned, it's always nice to be able to recognize this Day of Peace and the work that Tim and his group have been doing for years and years now. So, I will read this proclamation declaring September 21st, 2025 as the International Day of Peace in Traverse City. Whereas today we celebrate International Day of Peace established by the United Nations, sorry, I'm used to abbreviating, in 1981 on behalf of the Veterans for Peace, and as mayor of Traverse City, we affirm our eminent responsibility is to serve peace locally and throughout the world. Whereas by creating this day, the United Nations devoted itself to the world peace and encouraged all humankind to work in cooperation towards this goal, at least this day, and perhaps carrying the day over to the next, and to the next, and to the next. Whereas we in Traverse City are members of the International Cities of Peace, all of us are encouraged to celebrate Peace Day in her or his own way. You may think of those less fortunate, you may perform acts of kindness, you may light a candle in remembrance, or you may sit in silent meditation. This day and others may involve your children, your spouse or significant other, acquaintances, coworkers, neighbors, or even total strangers. We will think peace, we will act peace, and we will be peace. Whereas all of us know conflict is inherent in life, in these days of strike and division in our community and in our country, let us dedicate this day to peace building and simply being kind, and throughout our continued efforts, create a culture of peace. A healthier world is on the horizon. Whereas speaking for Veterans for Peace, Chapter 50, I propose all of Traverse City seek peaceful, effective alternatives to conflicts and disagreements of all kinds. International or here. Today I declare Traverse City, Michigan as a partner in this historic day. Therefore, be it declared, I, Amy Shamrow, Mayor of the City of Traverse City, do declare that Traverse City, Michigan as a partner in this historic day, and hereby proclaim September 21st, 2021 as International Day of Peace. And I will let Tim say some words, and he's always more articulate than I am.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Just a quick little thing. International Day of Peace is September 21, which is a Sunday, so we're going to be celebrating it on Tuesdays, the 22nd, with a ceremony at Clinch Park at 8 o'clock. We have a sunrise ceremony, and we have students there and community members, and people can speak, and we're there for about 45 minutes, and then we come here to the Peace Pole that's right outside here, and oftentimes many of the commissioners and Amy will read the proclamation, will join us there, and other members of the community certainly are invited. That's at 9 o'clock at the dedication at the Peace Pole, and then at 10 o'clock, every year for the last 15 years, we've donated a Peace Pole somewhere in Traverse City, and lots of times it's parks. Last few years we've gone to schools, elementary schools. Last year we went to Central High School. We met with the Student Senate, and we've also met with 5th, 6th graders. And we dedicate a Peace Pole, and this year we're doing it at Hall Park. But what I'm asking all of us to do is same thing I say to the 5th and 6th graders and to the seniors at Central High School. When we plant the Peace Pole, it's not just a pole. It's something for you to, maybe perhaps when you show up at school that day, or when you all walk by the Peace Pole out here, you just come by and just touch the pole. Just touch it in the day, once a day, once a week. And remember to do something kind to someone that day. Just one little act of kindness that day. And that's what we ask the children to do, and that's what we're asking our community to do as well. So, thank you.
Tim, I want to thank you for your nice words. I just wanted to clarify, you said Tuesday the 22nd, Monday is the 22nd. Monday the 22nd. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and our next proclamation is for Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. There we are, sorry. I don't know if you have, but yes, so I'll read the proclamation and I'll let you guys speak.
Thank you.
So we're declaring all of September 2025 is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas prostate cancer is the most diagnosed form of cancer and the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths among men in the United States, and whereas this year approximately 313,780 cases of prostate cancer will be diagnosed, which is one man every 2 minutes. Approximately 35,250 men will die from the disease, which is one man every 15 minutes. Whereas 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime, knowing the risk factors is important. Black men are 1.7 times more likely to develop prostate cancer and are 2.1 times more likely to die from the disease than white men. Veterans are 1.5 times more likely to be diagnosed with prostate cancer. Men with one close family member that has been diagnosed with prostate cancer have twice the risk for being diagnosed themselves. And whereas it is critical we raise awareness of prostate cancer to promote education, prevention, treatment, provide support, and increase quality of life to those who suffer from the disease. And whereas all men are at risk for prostate cancer, and we stress the importance of prostate screenings and exams as these help detect the disease in the early stages. The 5-year survival rate for localized prostate cancer is 100% and only 29% for late-stage diagnosis. Men should discuss their individual risk factors and screening recommendations with their healthcare providers. And whereas educating men and their families about healthy lifestyles, disease prevention, and early detection, and providing access to quality health care will greatly reduce health disparities and mortality rates for men. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Amy Shamrow, Mayor of the City of Traverse City, do hereby proclaim September 2025 as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month in Traverse City. So thank you, ladies, for being here, and we're happy to honor this. So please, Scott, have a few words.
So, hi, my name's Tina. I'm a oncology nurse at the Cowell Cancer Center. I may have met some people in here before. So we're just here, it's Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, to shed some light on a very common cancer in men. Probably everybody, here's someone who knows, you might hear people talk about breast cancer. You hear about breast cancer, and prostate cancer is just as common in men as breast cancer is in women, but we don't really hear that much about it. It's coming to more light, but as it says in the proclamation, in its early stages, there typically aren't any symptoms. That's why screening is important. I've had 2 family members that been, my grandfather lived to be 95. He had prostate cancer. He didn't die of prostate cancer. I had an uncle, he was affected by prostate cancer. He dealt with prostate cancer for 11 years, had recurrences. It's, in most cases, men will either get cured or if they have a recurrence, they'll live with it. And if it's caught early enough, they won't die from it. But it's just being, trying to catch it early, so.
And I'm Donna. I'm a urology nurse at Bay Area Urology. I've been in urology for over 51 years and have seen a lot of prostate cancer. Our main goal is basically to get awareness out in the community for the men and their families that there is hope with prostate cancer. And one of the things that we do is on the 21st of September, which is a Sunday, we have our annual, it's our 11th annual Blue Ribbon Run for Prostate Cancer Awareness. It starts over off of 16th Street by Right Brain Brewery. It's actually sponsored through Bite Productions. Their father, Tim and Tom's father, both died. Their father died from prostate cancer. So the run is in honor of them, and we encourage anybody to come out and join us and learn a little bit more, and at least acknowledge that you understand that it is an issue that needs to be dealt with. Thank you.
Donna actually started our prostate cancer support group about 32 or 33 years ago,
Yep.
and it's like one of our best support groups. So.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
I want to just reiterate, we always appreciate when people bring both community health awareness and community gathering proclamations and events to our attention, and allow us to share that information out with us. So thank you for that today. And with that, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Sarah, if you'd like to continue.
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed therefrom and placed elsewhere on the agenda for individual consideration by the commission, and such requests will be automatically respected. If an item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted in parentheses on the agenda is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. 1, consideration of approving the minutes of September 2nd, 2025, and September 8th, 2025 meetings of the City Commission. Approval recommended. 2, consideration of authorizing the addition of an owner, Joseph R. Williams, to JRW Enterprises, Inc. at 1104 Barlow Street, which holds a Class C and SDM licenses with Sunday AM, PM, and outdoor service area and entertainment permits, and authorizing the interim city clerk to issue an updated registration. Adoption and approval recommended. 3, consideration of authorizing an amendment to the agreement for Con Foster collection inventory and condition assessment services, which extends the agreement for 2 additional years. Approval recommended. 4, consideration of authorizing an amendment to the agreement for professional services to conduct a sanitary sewer evaluation study for additional CCTV and sanitary sewer ratings. Approval recommended. 5, consideration of authorizing a purchase order for the BSNA cloud-based platform for enterprise resource planning, ERP services. Approval recommended. 6, consideration of authorizing a purchase order for rental of an asphalt roller in connection with the in-house mill and pave project. Approval recommended. 7, consideration of adopting a resolution scheduling a public hearing for October 20th, 2025 regarding a request from a portion of property owners for a special improvement district for the paving of an alley east of Santo between Baldwin Street and Boone Street. Adoption recommended. 8, consideration of declaring unclaimed property held by the police department as surplus so it may be auctioned for sale. Approval recommended. 9, consideration of authorizing the mayor to sign a letter of support for Traverse Health Clinic. Approval recommended.
Does any commissioner want any item pulled from the consent calendar?
Item 7.
I'm sorry?
Item 7.
Okay. Any others? Would any member of the public like any item pulled from the consent calendar other than number 7? Seeing none, I'll bring it back for a motion.
I move the consent calendar be adopted as amended.
Thank you,
Support.
Jackie. Thank you.
Who
Okay,
supported?
all in favor, what?
Mitchell.
Thank you.
Wait, what'd you say?
She just wanted to know who's second.
No, it was,
Mark.
Oh, excuse me.
yeah. Okay, sorry, I'm writing it down myself. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move to item number 7 then. Mitch, what did you,
Yes,
you want to pull this?
We received an email from acting city manager earlier today. Per the memo, it was a tie between supporters and opponents. Apparently, with more responses, it's still a tie. If we move forward tonight, we are not approving it, we're merely scheduling it for a public hearing. But what would the procedure be if additional responses come in and a majority are not in support?
If you have more than 50% of the property owners that object to it, and that ends up being the result at the public hearing, then the charter requires that 6 affirmative votes of the city commissioner are required to approve that SID. I will tell you that, as you probably saw in the email, but for everyone's knowledge, that the city assessor's office is going to send, and this will be routine going forward, a follow-up survey card to those who haven't responded yet, so that hopefully you get the most up-to-date figures. So at this point, I certainly recommend that you move forward with scheduling the public hearing and then see where it lands on October 20th.
Thank you.
Do you have other questions, or would someone like to make a motion?
I'll move that the resolution scheduling a public hearing on Special Assessment District 2025-02 be adopted, scheduling the public hearing for October 20th, 2025.
Support. Thank you, Commissioner Treadwell and Commissioner Stanley. Any further comments on that from the commission? Seeing none, any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. So we will set that for October 20th. And we'll move on to old business, and we'll start with the report from the Brown Bridge Ad Hoc. I know you all have been very, very hard at work at that, so I will hand it over to Commissioner Warner to kind of run down your recommendations for us.
Sure, it's all, I think it's summarized fairly well in the memo, and thank you to staff for helping to draft that. And the investments as well as the access very specifically are not, they're just listed in a random order. We had quite a long discussion about that. Should they be prioritized? Should they not be prioritized? And opted for not prioritizing, partly because we support, the ad hoc supports all of these, and there is capacity to perform all of these. If this is approved by voters in November, there's 5 years. Certainly, I would think that city manager or interim city manager, future full-time city manager, whoever that might be, will work with staff to set forward a plan on how to address these over the course of 5 years, and likely how to decide the order of addressing them as well. And then that will come to the city commission at that time for approval. And then each project on its own merits would come before the city commission for approval as well. So we had quite a bit of discussion about whether to prioritize or not, and then also, what dollar figures here. Back of the envelope, these can easily exceed the $3 million, but at the same time, with some effort and creativity, they could be kept below the $3 million mark. So again, and it's referenced in here, the 5-year Parks and Rec Master Plan, and we opted to wait for that to help inform, which parks in particular, say, get which playground equipment, things like that. So rather than trying to be prescriptive early on, wait for that to come forward and work more broadly with city staff to help plan things.
Great. Mitch?
Yeah, speaking to those points about cost estimates and prioritization, yes, we looked at very rough back of the envelope numbers for how much these things could cost, but this is a 5-year plan, and even if we had the best cost estimation work done to see exactly how much this project would cost now, we don't know what materials, contractor availability, and other cost factors will look like 5 years down the road. So it can inform the decision-making and how we structured the various things that we heard back from survey responses, but it shouldn't be the only guiding factor. Also, when it comes to how much the city pays for this and how things get prioritized, this is a list of projects that can be done over the next 5 years. There can be, and this is a pot of money to fund it, but that doesn't mean that other pots of money won't be available. Some of these projects could qualify for Natural Resources Trust Fund grants or other sources of state or federal funding. If there's a particular neighborhood that some local resident or foundation feels passionately about, they might be willing to cover part of the cost of upgrading playground equipment or something else in that park. And we don't know what those opportunities will be or the schedule that it will fall. So having some flexibility, both from not including all the cost estimations in here and not having a strict prioritization list, allows future staff to determine what bites to take off at what point in time.
Thank you. Heather, did you want to just chime in since
Yes,
you were the third member?
I'm glad that somebody, was it you, Tim, that asked to have the surveys, or maybe
I
it was
did.
you? Oh, yeah. The surveys were extensive, a lot of responses. The first survey, there seemed to be a lot of pickleball people, just hundreds of people saying, we need pickleball. The last one, maybe it was more mountain bikers, but in between, it was, please take care of the things that you already have. We don't need anything new and shiny. We really want more trash cans. We want more playground equipment. We want picnic benches. We just want to enjoy the parks that we have right now. And the only thing that maybe needs clarification is the lakeshore stabilization. I mean, we were, I thought, specifically talking about West Bay and that lakeshore stabilization project. And
Somebody did send an email today asking, what do you mean, where? We were specifically talking about West Bay. We did have conversations with the Watershed Center about what they thought that project needed, replacing old signs, potentially adding new educational signs, which would be a way of highlighting our economic sustainability. It would also maybe reflect nicely on the new innovation center that's going in. It's also a way maybe to bring tourists to have some more understanding of who we are up here. We're not just a party place. We are actually working hard to create an environment for people and that protects our beaches and our birds, even though we would like to have less birds, and that would be part of this project as well. So some of it is erosion control, so you would have, right now you can just access the beach any old way you want to, pretty much, and so it breaks down those banks, and then we get water rushing in, we get sand blowing around. It also makes it easier for the geese to get up onto the shore and look over the shore and say, oh, there's some nice grass up there, I'm going to go up there and poop. And then it rains, and all the poop goes down into the water, and then we've got E. coli problems. And something else that the Watershed talked about was Sunset Park, and perhaps creating some kind of a wetland in there because if you push the birds out from, way down on the west side of West Bay, they're going to go someplace. They're not going to go back to Canada. So maybe creating a place for them to go. The problem with Sunset Beach is that with the NMC pier right there, you get those westerly winds. It blows all the water up into that pier. It just swirls around. You've got a big stormwater drain there, and you just get E. coli over and over and over again. So there's a lot of interesting things that could happen with that lakeshore restoration, but perhaps we need to be more specific about saying West Bay.
Yeah, and I would recommend that the motion be amended to be that the City Commission approves the report from the City Commission Ad Hoc Committee on the Brown Bridge Trust Fund and approves the list of eligible projects as the projects to be considered for funding should the related ballot proposal be approved by the electorate at the November 2025 election, with the report to be amended at item 1 under investments to be West Bay Lakeshore Stabilization.
Okay.
So that's clear for the
Thank you.
public.
And we can have someone make that motion right now if they'd like, by saying so moved.
I so moved.
Thank you, Heather, that's great. Any second?
Support.
Thank you, Tim.
If I could just say one more thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This
Since
is-
it was just said, I wanted to do O's fresh.
We haven't usually taken out this much money, so this is an opportunity to do something really big. And you could do piecemeal the lakeshore restoration, you could do a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit, but this gives us the opportunity to really build it up and protect our water quality, protect beachgoers as well from contamination, and just to make a better quality of life for everybody who lives here.
Great. Really quickly, I just wanted to say, I'm going to call on everybody too, but as we're making comments and as we're having this discussion, we do have the motion as stated, but if there are other amendments or things that you're looking for clarification on that we might want to include, please feel free to share those. We can always amend the motion or change the wording slightly and go back. So first, Jackie, because you have not spoken yet, so please go ahead.
Thank you. I just wondered if there is an easy way for members of the public or members of the commission to see the actual results of the August prioritization survey? Is that posted somewhere?
I did request those, but yeah, could we get that out?
So the survey results are actually included in the Brown Bridge Trust Fund ad hoc meetings, but maybe we can find another
I think
location
we'll
on the
work with Colleen
website.
to have a projects page that
Yep.
has everything to do with this initiative handily located, and if you
Yes.
can make sure,
Yep.
that'd
Will
be
there
great.
Maybe, I know
But
we
they
have a
are
good,
out there.
we have a good carousel too, so that people don't have to dig through some old meetings
Right.
and prioritize that for the next few weeks till the election. That's a great question, Jackie.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mitch.
Yeah, speaking on the specific issue of the amendment, while most of the city's public shoreline is along West Bay, and that is where the investment dollars and project should be concentrated, We do have 2 parks on East Bay. We do have multiple road ends and other places that are publicly owned and managed land on East Bay. So I wouldn't want us to limit future staff and commissions unduly if an opportunity came available that was mostly focused on West Bay, but included some stabilization work at, say, one of the parks on East Bay as well.
It seems like this list, and so I'm asking a question following that up basically to our ad hoc. It seems like this list has left a lot of room for, I don't want to say wiggle room because that makes it sound fuzzy, but some discussion and things. So do you all feel like that the West Shore Stabilization Project, or West Bay Stabilization Project is highest priority for based on what the feedback and probably the best use of dollars, and if East Bay came up potentially with other Brown Bridge or other funding, you guys are okay with that, or is that a concern of the ad hocs? I'm assuming that at some point maybe there was a discussion on that, and because it seems like West Bay would be our biggest priority, but go ahead.
Yeah, my recollection, and I hope staff can weigh in on this, is that we were focused on West Bay, not to the complete exclusion, but that was the discussion. So I would be inclined to keep it as the motion was made and seconded.
I saw our Parks and Recreation superintendent and acting city clerk who were at those meetings nodding their head in agreement with you, Commissioner Werner, just so everyone knows.
Okay.
Amy, I have another.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was sent a couple of emails asking who is going to manage all of this. So if the ballot proposal passes, then what happens? Who decides how this is implemented and what comes first, second, third, fourth?
I would look at our interim city manager right now as this is, we've had other ballot initiatives with, directing spending for Brown Bridge funds and even ones without, and it is a staff kind of issue, but
Right.
I'll let Benjamin speak more to that.
Yes, thank you, and it would take into account a number of factors, right? Like including timing, what seems to be rising to the top potentially in terms of other funding that might be available that is project-specific. So, and then those projects, provided that they're over the city manager's spending authority, which is $26,000, they'd be brought back to the city commission. So that's how that would happen unless you directed something differently.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, Jackie, go ahead.
One more point of clarification. Would projects that are not on this list be ineligible? If this is the list of eligible projects, that this sort of puts the box around
That's
what
correct.
would be
This would be
considered.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This would be the list. And so that's, the purpose of that is to provide the voters with assurance as to how the money would be spent. I know you could look at it different ways if you wanted more flexibility, but that's been the approach the last 2 initiatives that seem to be received well by the electorate, that there was clarity in terms of how the money would be spent.
Thank you.
And this is a 5-year period, so if there's a project that bubbles to the surface that this general fund or grants can't cover,
Right.
we're not looking at a 10, 20, like a bonding, where it would preclude us from tackling anything for a very long time. So I appreciate all the work, because I've seen this come in various iterations, and I appreciate how this is really well-targeted and also flexible enough, too, of what that means. So go ahead, Heather.
And this is about park improvements and park access. That's how the Brown Bridge Trust monies must be spent according to their charter. Park maintenance really needs to come out of Parks and Rec general fund, which they don't have one right now. They have a very tiny one. It was just to put in some irrigation along the parkway after the rebuild. So we all need to think about getting them some general fund money for maintenance.
Great, good point. Do we have other questions or comments at this time? Seeing none right now, I'm going to open it up for public comment. Does anybody have any public comment on this item? Please approach the podium. You can line up even, and we'll hand it over to Sarah for the rules.
I'm going to read the rules. We ask that you state your name and address, indicate if you're a city resident, non-city resident, and/or city business owner. We have a 3-minute time allotment per speaker. When your time is elapsed, When your time has elapsed, the timer will beep, and finally, we request that all language be respectful to all parties.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Camille Hoisington. I am a city resident at 215 West 17th Street. I'm also the co-chair of the Fernwood Neighborhood Association. So as it relates to the park access and in consideration of the Brown Bridge Trust Fund, I'm here tonight speaking on behalf of our Fernwood neighborhood residents. And this recommendation is to the decision-making committee reflecting input and feedback gathered from our Fernwood neighborhood residents. So for Fernwood families, the main access point to the Boardman Lake Loop Trail, which I know is up for consideration, is currently at 16th Street and Cass Street. And this seems to be a bit of a pain point, this intersection. Many of us, including my own family and our 2 kids, we find ourselves running across the street often with strollers or bicycles or scooters in tow, and it just does not feel safe. So our request is to strongly provide some support and consideration for that specific intersection at 16th and Cass Streets to prioritize that access to the Boardman Lake Loop Trail if the Brown Bridge Trust Fund ballot measure passes. And this could include stop signs, it could be a pedestrian crossing, with a flashing light. It could be safer bike lanes as well. But I just wanted to reiterate that that is the feedback that we have heard from our neighbors to address this key connection for Fernwood neighborhood to the Boardman Lake Loop Trail. So thank you for your time and consideration and for continuing to put your leadership towards investing in our parks and trails. Thank you.
Thank you, Camille.
Hello, my name is Brenda Smith. I'm a city resident. I live on 17th Street as well. I'm also the president of the Fairway Hills Association, which is a condo association, also part of the Fernwood Association in general. And I'm here to support the Parks and Rec as far as Brownwood funds as well. Specifically, the crossing at 16th Street and Cass. As Camille said, it's very difficult to get across, especially families, if there's bikes or children to get across there, because there's not much time in between cars to get across Cass Street. So you really have to be fast, and you hope that everyone can get across. I bike every day or walk the loop every day, and it's really tough to get across to get to the loop and then get onto the TART trail from the loop. So we are requesting to be on the list, and also specifically where it said access to the Boardman Lake Loop, we'd like to have it be stated 16th Street and Cass Street, because I think that's one of the real pain points and dangerous spots to try and get across that street. And we're also requesting to have the pedestrian flashing light like on East 8th Street or where the TART trail crosses Woodmere. So those seem to be really working well for the city. And we'd like to have something like that where a pedestrian can push the button and get across safely. So we ask you to vote yes to approve the list of priorities, and then also that maybe if it can state that one of the priorities is at Cass and 16th Street. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Tammy Evans. I'm also a member of the Fernwood neighborhood, and I am here to ask, similar to the Lakeshore building, the West Bay, to have possibly an amendment put in where it says access to the Boardman Lake Loop, to have it specifically call out 16th Street and Cass Avenue. And I'll go the other direction, that my dad is in his 80s, and while very active, he and his dog trying to cross Cass Avenue is nerve-wracking. And so I think about it like the word act. Access to community trails. We're building beautiful parks and lake shores and trails and woods, but if our communities are having trouble accessing them, that it restricts all of the things we're trying to make our community be, including a pedestrian community and a bicyclist community. So I would ask you to consider making that access to the Boardman Lake Loop be the Cass Street and 16th Street. And thank you so much for your time and for your service.
Thank you very much. And I would say too, I'm seeing the city manager here taking notes. I know that Deb Allen, who's our traffic control kind of liaison expert, is sitting here as well. And I'll let the people speak about it, but as far as the access, but also, I mean, that's something that we could be looking at right now before there's even any project money spent of like we were talking about, you referenced on 8th Street or other spaces. That doesn't inherently have to wait for a parks improvement project because it's already well in use as well. So that seems like something we could discuss ahead of it. But Tim, I know you had some thoughts on how this applies to the Brown Bridge.
Well, just that crossing that's been discuss. Public comment is very much was, if not the very top of the list when we were discussing that topic of Boardman Lake Loop access. There was nothing that was higher than it. Maybe it was tied with something, but that was the item that kept rising to the top, was my recollection of the discussions.
Absolutely.
Not that there weren't others as well. You know, there's Carver on the far side of the lake, and 10th and 12th, and maybe Franklin and some others, but 16th got at least as much as any other, and is definitely intended to be what this means. I'll defer to the folks at the end of the table here, whether it has to
Warrants or
specifically be
whatever.
called out. I don't think it has to, but I'm not an attorney, so.
No, it doesn't need to specifically be called out to be used for that.
Yeah, it's great. I drive that almost every day right now, and that is a tough place to be a pedestrian. So definitely appreciate that highlight being added. Are there, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, but be assured that, that crossing at 16th and Cass was at the top of our list for the loop access. So we will, we were listening.
Yes.
We're listening. Any other comments from any commissioners or any other, since we had some public comment brought up? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to call the vote then. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. So thank you all for your hard work on that. I know it was a lot of really, really good discussion and feedback, and probably our most comprehensive one yet. So great job, everybody. We'll now move on to new business, and we're getting our street painting update, which I know Commissioner Shaw is excited about, and as am I, since this is again a couple years in the making. So we'll turn this over to you, Benjamin, if you want to kick it off.
Thank you. Yes, and Chris Weber, our street superintendent, is going to give you an update on the status of street painting in the city. And I just want to acknowledge that, just as the employee team has acknowledged, that sometimes it often seems like this is happening a lot later than we would like, and that's not meant to be critical, but rather an acknowledgement of reality. And so at the October 13th study session, we will probably, at that meeting or very soon thereafter, be presenting a thoughtful analysis on how to bring street painting in-house, and if it makes sense. That is the direction that I think it probably is going to head. We're just going through some more detail. And the purpose of that would be for essentially the same or potentially less money, provide a greater level of service through earlier street painting, because frankly, there aren't many contractors who do this work, I'm told, and honestly, it's just a matter of bandwidth and being able to get the work done. So I think bringing it in-house will be able to get it done much sooner. And Mr. Weber, please join us, and he's going to just take a few minutes to provide you with an update, and we'll be available for any questions you have.
Hello, everyone. Chris Weber. I'm the street superintendent for the city of Traverse City. We just wanted to provide you with a brief update on the status of street painting within the city. Really like to break it out into two separate categories when it comes to painting. There are the long lines, which are the center lines, turn lanes, edge lines. That is one process that is bid out separately and done by a separate contractor because it requires a very specialized truck, and they can paint the entire town in about a day to a day and a half. The other part of that is we call it legends, crosswalks, and parking. So that is all of your parking lines downtown, all of the city-owned parking lots, all of the legends, so arrows, onlys, bike symbols, your crosswalks, whether it's special emphasis or just the two parallel bars. And as you'll see, there's thousands and thousands of them. As far as progress, I would say that it's pretty typical as it is in previous years. I just think it's probably that there's just more focus on it because this town is becoming more and more focused on multimodal transportation. So it is on our radar, and it's something we pay close attention to as well. And it's probably perfect timing because the contract actually ends this year, and it would have to go back out to bid. So that would be a great time to implement any changes as far as timelines or anything like that, requiring it to be done by a certain date. But just to second what the interim city manager said, there are not many contractors that do this work within the entire state. And as you can imagine, they start downstate sooner because the weather gets nicer down there first. And they're doing big cities down there, and they come up here, mid to late summer and start going through some of the files that my predecessor had left me. It seems that July is a pretty typical start time for this project, and they usually continue through September and into October. Like I mentioned, parking lines, crosswalks, handicap parking, symbols and spaces, bicycle facilities, legends, and all city-owned parking lots.
Chris, would you mind, just for those who might not be aware, share what legends means?
Well, I was a legend once, but no, legend.
Still are,
I think
Chris,
it's
you
just
still
like
are.
wayfinding. So it directs you, so it says this arrow is this lane only, straight through right turn only, or any direction that'll give you as far as parking, bike symbols, directions, bike lanes, anything to designate travel or the use. So, but like I said, they usually start in July, reviewing the files from the past 5 to 8 years. It seems like they start in July and continue through September. Last year was the first year since I've been here that I recall that they were not able to complete all of the paint markings prior to winter. I know they had faced some staffing issues, and it seems like this year they're on track to complete that, but you never know what Mother Nature's going to do. Let's see here. As you can imagine, this application is put onto the surface of the road. It may only be a couple mils thick, but it does stand above the surface of the roadway. And with our winter conditions and the snow removal process with the blades scraping on the ground, every winter we plow these markings off. And we do use waterborne paints, which are more eco-friendly, but they are not the most longest lasting products out there. We have done some studies in the past year of looking into other alternatives that are also eco-friendly but may last quite a bit longer, such as MMA. It's a methyl something. Yeah, it's more of like an epoxy type thing. But we did do some trial intersections, 9th and Locust, I believe, and then Wayne and Cedar right by the church there. And this product is supposed to last multiple times longer than the waterborne materials, but it is also multiple times more the cost. So we took a trial to see, does it last longer? Is it worth it? We can apply it once and it'll last for 3 or 4 years rather than redoing it every year. And then the cost of not having a contractor here every single year redoing it, and then also the savings with emissions and such, and not having somebody here all year long running around painting everything. And then one other thing we've talked about, and I know it's been implemented in new projects, is recessing the pavement markings below the surface. So really all you have to do is grind just a tiny little bit into the surface of the roadway so that the pavement markings sit below the surface and they're not as easily removed. The county had done a large project last year on many of the major corridors, such as South Airport, Cass, where they came in and did that exact thing, recessed them, lowered them, and it helps them to last a little bit longer because they're not right at the surface. So progress, this is as of last Thursday or Friday. I typically speak with the contractor once or twice a week, check in. If we have any issues that need to be taken care of immediately, we pass that along and then get an update on progress. So legends, as I mentioned, there's 1,048 total. We have completed 1,001, so we're about 95% completed when it comes to legends. With lines, like I said, that's parking, whether it's street parking, city-owned parking lots, but that also includes, as you can see in the picture, each of those crosswalk bars is considered a line. So 8,805 total. We're at about 5,114 completed, so about 58%. So I think we're on track to get all of these completed prior to winter, but it really depends on the weather and the availability of the contractor. And there is not really a requirement in the current contractor to have it done prior to any set timeline. And like I said, last year was the first year that I know of where it was not completed prior to winter, but they did come back in the spring and finish everything within that fiscal year. So next steps, we're working on the internal vetting. It's in progress currently of possibly looking at the possibility of bringing some of that work in-house. I know it had been asked a couple different iterations of all of the markings, some of the markings, maybe just the high traffic downtown areas, getting that done before the busy tourist season. So we have been doing some collecting costs and talking to other vendors and other municipalities, and we've come up with a pretty good idea of what it would cost to get our foot in the door. And then my predecessor had done an analysis of what it would take to jump in with both feet. What would it take to get the entire painting of all the crosswalks, legends, and everything in-house? What would that take as far as costs, staffing, and equipment? So, and that's something we're working with the city manager on and staff, and then we plan to have a presentation to the city commission on October 13th.
Great.
So,
Thank you for that, Chris. I just want to, before questions, I just want to add clarification that if we did look at keeping this work being done by external sources or contractors, as adding into the RFP timelines and those types of things and what that would look like, and contractual provisions that held the contractor to that standard, and penalties if they didn't meet it. But that's part of our full analysis, and I just wanted to clarify that point. So thank you.
Go ahead, Heather.
The recessed lines, they were applied to Eastern Avenue, approaching the light at Peninsula Drive, and then with the new sidewalk going in, the traffic pattern changed there. So the paint came off the recessed lines, and new paint went on, but the recessed lines are still very visible. So what happens with that?
so I noticed that today. I was actually on Eastern today, checking up on the Cape Seal progress on that side of town, but it's just the variation of the color of the surface of the roadway. So you got your brand new dark asphalt, and then you cut into it, and it's a lot lighter color, so you can see the lines clear as day where they used to be, and then the brand new yellow painted lines, you know, slightly north of that. It's just something that in time will, you know, match the rest of the roadway with the fading. It's really not something we've addressed in, you know, it's something we not typically experience. Is the brand new road, and then we adjust the
Yeah,
lines.
it's a
shortly
little
thereafter.
confusing. It looks a little messy and confusing, but, okay, hopefully it fades away.
I hope so.
Get
We
it
also
out.
have some black paint. I can go out there and grab it again if you want.
The reverse magic, or what do
Yeah.
you call it, whiteout?
You have all these high school students, you
Yeah.
know, and they don't need any more confusion than they already have.
Right. Mitch and then Jackie.
To the acting city manager's point of increased stringency with our contract provisions, I understand the overarching thing of limited contractors, and they start downstate and move north, which makes sense because there's large cities downstate, and also you hit frost-free dates sooner downstate. But are there other cities that already have such contract provisions in place such that we'd essentially end up fighting with other municipalities, and it comes down to who can pay more money?
I think that's how we would, if we decided to, if the commission decided that you'd rather keep street painting outsourced, those are the things we would explore and have different bidding scenarios accordingly, so that we're not just shooting ourselves in the foot.
Jackie?
I really appreciate that you're intending to do an in-depth analysis from a cost perspective. This is a challenge. I don't know if anyone has found a way to do it yet, but is there a way to include the cost of safety ramifications? I mean, I think of pedestrian safety and bicyclist safety, and what it costs from not only a property but a human standpoint when our markings aren't there to guide everyone safely. So can we bake that into this analysis in any way?
Yeah, it's definitely something we think about, is the safety of the public when they're out and about. And we understand that, you know, it's hard to see where crosswalks are at, where stop bars are at. So it is something we consider, and obviously there is no, you know, you can't put a cost on a human life, so.
And I will say, it's not, when we bring this to the commission, it's not going to be just a dollars and cents, you know, decision, right? But we're going to have financial information available, and then it's essentially a values proposition in some respects with what you're talking about.
Okay, thank you. If we can put data to it, I'd be even happier.
I get it.
Other questions? All right, still a legend, Chris. Thank you for that. Okay, then we'll move on to our next item, which is a public hearing. I keep forgetting when we have public hearings to request a gavel.
Oh,
Always
right.
and forever,
Yeah.
it'll just
Yeah.
keep going. But a public hearing on CDBG, do you have one?
grab it?
Oh, yeah, we have one apparently.
Introductory comments while she's
Yes,
getting it.
please do that. And so I will hand it over to the interim city manager.
Great, and Leslie Sichterman, who is the Deputy Planner and Sustainability Coordinator for the city, has a memo in your packet, and I just want to share that essentially what this is you have to approve a report as part of the CDBG monies that have been allocated. The status is included in a chart from Ms. Sichterman, as well as the amount of funding that's been allocated and what's outstanding. And so really, at this point, it's not really a decision about prioritization because it's already really been decided. It's approving the report, which in a lot of ways is a housekeeping matter.
Okay, well, with that, look at this. It even has mayor on it. And this is my first time in almost 2 years using it. But with that, I will open up the public hearing for the CDBG funding. And I'll hand it over to Sarah for the rules or questions. Or I'll talk really slowly and then she's ready.
So really, anybody that would be interested in addressing the commission on this topic is welcome to come up to the podium and speak.
Do we have anyone who wanted to address this topic on the record? Going once? Okay, with that, I will now close the public hearing. And we will bring it back over to the commission. We have a motion in here, if anybody has any questions first of the rise of motions, great. Go ahead, Jackie.
I have questions.
Yes, I figured.
The 24-page CAPER report, may I presume that that's still in a draft format? There were some pretty obvious formatting and other issues.
Yes, good evening. There were some, this gets spit out, for lack of a better word, from the program, the online portal where you put in information. And the way it spit it out, it added in some programming code. So I did make a copy that has that removed, and we couldn't get it in your packet in time. So it does exist without those, and that will be what we print and have kind of on file. But the official copy is actually what's in that system that the federal government has. So that's our way of communicating with them. So it will look right on their end. But if you saw any other typos or anything, let me know.
Other questions? Oh, go ahead. If you have more, Jackie, go ahead.
And different question entirely, but I couldn't help but notice the gap between the number of recipients planned to be benefited, which was, what, 400 and some, and the actual number that were benefited, which was 0. And I couldn't find a summary explanation for that, so I wanted to, you know the background better than anyone, so I wondered if you could just fill us in about that.
Sure. So this is kind of the wrap-up of our first year, which ended June 30th, which is coincides with your fiscal year. And at that time, we had only drawn down funding to help with the administration of the program, and there are other drawdowns in process, and there's a lot that happens in the background before that starts to get drawn down. But as our subrecipients report back to us and report on how many people are being serviced with the funding that they're being given, then that gets reported through that same online system, through that portal, and that generates numbers of people who've been assisted. So far in that first year, it's really just been setting up the program and getting it in the works and getting it started. So it looks a little dismal for the first year, but it is a 5-year plan. And in fact, we have until our first check-in on timeliness is in May of 2026, and that will be the point in time when we need to show that we have spent 1.5 years of 2 years worth of funding. So that's kind of our goal right now, to get to that and to hit that mark. And we do have a lot of the subrecipients teed up to start doing their drawdowns.
Okay. And one last question, I promise. Could you clarify the status of the funding for Safe Harbor? I think in one place it said it was ongoing, or in another place it said it was on hold, and I was confused.
So it's my understanding that the bids that came back for the work for the parking lot at Safe Harbor came in more than twice what their allocation was and what their estimate was for that work. So they're going back to the drawing board a little bit. They've asked that that be put on hold for now until some decisions are made.
Okay, thanks.
Other questions? Or I would take a motion. Go ahead, Mark.
I'll move that the City Commission approves the consolidated annual performance evaluation for 2024 to 2025, and that staff submit the CAPER to HUD.
Support.
That was a tie. I'll give it to Stanley. All right. Now, is there any further comment or questions at this time? Okay. Okay, seeing none, I'll open up for any public comment on the item. So if you didn't get your chance during the public hearing, now's your chance. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone, for that. We'll keep that good work going. And you're so quick, I have to bring up my screen again. All right, so now we have a motion, as was requested when Benjamin agreed to take on the interim city manager position, to have periodic reviews, and this is our first one. So we need a motion to enter into that periodic review after the final public comment. So we will make the motion now, but we have the rest of the agenda to finish up for the public to know. Go ahead, Jack.
I move that the City Commission enter into closed session immediately following the public comment portion of the agenda to consider the periodic personnel evaluation of interim city manager Benjamin Marentet as requested by the city manager and as authorized by MCL 15.268A.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. Any other comment on this? Oh, yeah. Any public comment on this? Okay, then we'll do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Shaw?
Yes.
Commissioner Treadwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner Werner?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. All right, so that will come after our final public comment of the meeting. So we'll now move on to our appointments, and we have the so close, almost there, reestablishment of our complete streets. And,
Quick thing.
okay.
I just wanted to share, I know the commission's aware of this, but just for the public, that I just asked to have a little bit of time since I'm getting my feet wet in this role. And we had an internal staff meeting last week just to talk about the policy and ensure there's clarity. I want to make sure that the intent of the city commission is clear to the commission and that there's alignment there. And so the staff that are most closely involved with helping to implement this policy are going to propose some edits to the policy honoring the spirit of the discussions of the ad hoc committee. And the plan is then to have one last meeting of the ad hoc committee on October 6th, where I would be present, and then present this to the city commission at your study session on October 13th with possible approval on October 20th. So that's the anticipated schedule there, and I just appreciate the little bit of grace to make sure there's that clarity. And I hadn't been to any of those meetings, so this is a chance for me to kind of get caught up.
So
Thank
again,
you.
this is for the extension of the ad hoc itself, though.
Right.
And so we really are excited about the work you all are doing and want to get you across the finish line. So does somebody want to make a motion?
That should have been the motion, but
Okay.
I'll read it as written. I move that the City Commission Ad hoc Committee on Complete Streets Policy be reestablished, consisting of members Mayor Pro Tem Mark Wilson, Commissioner Tim Werner, and Commissioner Heather Shaw, with Mayor Pro Tem Wilson as chair, with the committee to expire February 16th, 2026. Mayor Pro Tem will not be here after November, so
Let's get it done.
Yeah.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanley and Mayor Pro Tem Wilson. Any other comments on this? Seeing none, any public comment on this? Bringing it back, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? look forward to that final report. Thank you guys for all that hard work on it. I know it's been a really complete, well versed and well vetted ad hoc committee. So now we have oops, mine just opened my second one again, so give me a second. The resignation of Judy Nimitz from the Brown Bridge Authority and an ad hoc interview committee. Sarah's shaking the jar as we speak right now,
This
so
is the best part.
we're gonna let her pull the names.
And the lucky winners are Mitchell Treadwell and Heather Shaw.
Yay. And then you're already on that, right, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, so the pro tem Wilson here is already on it, so we have Commissioners Treadwell and Shaw joining him, and so would someone like to make that motion?
I'll move that the resignation of Judy Nimitz from the Brown Bridge Advisory Committee be accepted and the City Commission Ad hoc Interview Committee be established to make a recommendation regarding the appointment for the term expiring October 6, 2028, and that Mayor Pro Tem Wilson, Commissioner Shaw, and Commissioner Treadwell be appointed to such committee with Mayor Pro Tem Wilson as chair.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioners Warner and Commissioner Treadwell. Any other comments on this?
Just want to thank Ms. Nemitz for her time served. It wasn't written how long she was on, but I understand for quite some time.
Yeah, she's been a stalwart there for sure. Okay, any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I do have to say that drawing those names does add an element of fun to our
I
meetings,
mean, it's
doesn't
fun.
it? And Sarah's very enthusiastic about it, which is great too. So we'll move now on to reports and announcements. Does anybody have anything to report? Go ahead. Heather.
Michigan Township Association meeting a couple weeks ago. It was the township liaison to the state legislature who came to give her annual report. I've never seen it before, but there she was. And she said that last year it was they passed fewer bills than ever in history, except in 1940 when there was a war going on and they didn't meet. But the most interesting thing she had to talk about, she just goes through and talks about all the legislation that's in the works, was a housing reform, zoning reform legislation that I couldn't find anything about it online, but it totally preempts municipalities. Most of it doesn't really affect us because we've already made these changes, like, maximum parking, minimum parking, duplexes by right. But there was one thing that is very concerning, and it was that you could only have a 25-foot setback, no larger than 25 feet, which may run into trouble with our riparian buffer. I don't know because I can't see if it's like up to the riparian buffer. Can't find anything about it, but it is something to be concerned about. Certainly rural communities are very concerned. There's maximum lot sizes that are under consideration, maximum house sizes. It's very interesting.
Well, thank you for that.
And the Arts Commission, tomorrow it's an artist panel, so all the artists will be at the Alluvian to talk about what they're doing, 6 o'clock, and on Wednesday at 4, it's a parade, and it starts at Oriana at 4 o'clock.
I just want to share.
I won't be here, I'll be down in Grand Rapids with you.
Yes, I'll be seeing you down there. I do want to share that any effort by the legislature to preempt local ability to zone is something that every community should take very seriously. It is one of the reasons why local government exists, is to help decide how its community looks with the most focused local lens, and so we're monitoring that carefully. And we'll take whatever leadership role we need to, and we'll be working with our legislators to make sure that they're advocating on our behalf and their constituents' behalf, which is to say that they should be pushing 100% to ensure local control on all zoning matters. And so we take that very, very seriously.
Yeah, and Michigan Municipal League has already been in touch, and we've been speaking with them right along, so we're watching it.
Great. Anyone else?
Just a small update from Planning Commission. I made a request of the planning director at our last meeting for just a brief couple-page update on progress on the Planning Commission's goals and objectives for 2025. We're 2/3 of the way through the calendar year, and I thought it would be a great time to hear what's been accomplished on those objectives, as well as what is expected to be taken for the remaining time periods. So I hope that by the time we meet next, we'll have some information about that for everyone.
Great. Go ahead, Tim.
Just real quick, the Joint Rec Authority between Garfield Township and the city and the water project to get better water pressure to the historic Barnes Park is on schedule, and so that water improvements, we'll call it, should occur in time for completion of the significant Barnes project.
Great. Okay, Mitch.
Yeah. Parks and Rec had a significant discussion about potential changes to future use of the Carnegie Building and the Bijou Building, or the former Con Foster Building, since it has gone by different names. Though that is an advisory body, and this commission will have to be the ultimate arbiter about what happens with those buildings, what the lease structure ends up looking at like, and whether we go for RFPs or other changes.
Great, thank you
So
for that update.
definitely something to keep an eye on in the pipeline.
For sure. I actually have one here. So one of the organizations that the city at large belongs to is the Great Lakes, and I have to read this so I don't flip them around. Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Cities Initiative, which is a collective of mayors on the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Seaway. It's international. It's actually, most of the staff is working out of Canada. And they're always a good kind of useful group to meet with periodically and hear what's going on. And it is, I will say it's a great group because it's also a balance of smaller cities and larger. It's not, Chicago and Milwaukee dominating the conversation and everybody else just kind of sits around. But they just recently launched their initiatives on economic development in the blue and green economy. And I just wanted to share that that's out there, and it's something that we should actually, I'm excited about, because they're doing it absolutely through the lens that we do it as well, of how do we protect and preserve, knowing that we have these resources and knowing that people are interested in the blue-green economy, in water, fresh water, and water safety and water, sorry, I'm not speaking very well tonight. Yes, water quality. Thank you, Heather. Thank you for the other person in books to provide that. So there is this focus, and it's a major initiative that they've just rolled out at a conference last week. So it is public, or last month. So it's public now, and I think that's going to be a really important conversation that we're going to be a part of going forward, because I was talking already when we were in our meeting about the Freshwater Institute, the freshwater studies that we have here, and the Fish Pass, and they all are very interested, and we're going to kind of prepare a mini report for them, even to understand what we've been doing here. But I wanted to also acknowledge that we're further ahead than some of the bigger cities, even on some of the conversations we're having. But there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot to learn from, and so it's a pretty exciting initiative that they just launched that I wanted to let everybody know about. So with that, unless there's any other reports, we will then go to general public comment. So any public comment from anything under the sun. Doesn't have to be what we talked about tonight. Go ahead.
There 2 hours.
My name is Beth Pack, and I'm here as a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution. We're having a celebration of Constitution Week, September 17th to the 23rd. I've already been delivering posters to various schools and libraries and the like. We had never visited y'all. So I thought tonight would be great, given that it's happening before the week opens. And I have a set of posters that I'm hoping you'd be able to find a place to display. Apolitical. This is just Constitution Week, and then 6 of them are on 6 of the articles within the Constitution, basically what they cover. The 7th article is not here because that was on ratification. We were running out of money in developing the posters. And the last of the 8 posters is on the 250-year celebration that comes up next year. And so I'd like to give those to y'all if you might have a place for them. And to also mention that we had also been very impressed with the poster project, the banner project, as you go along the parkway. And we applied to see if we could get banners of these posters done and placed in September. And we filled out our form. It went through review. We were accepted by whatever committee does the review. We met the criteria. But then the city kind of froze and said that we weren't going to, y'all weren't going to introduce any more new banners, that you would only go with things that you had contracts from a prior year. And so I just kind of wanted to say that we were still very interested in that. And hopefully we'll find out when the city decides to go forward on it. As things stand right now, Frankfurt's going to put a set up outside the City Hall area, but we'd really love to have them in Traverse City as well.
I'd be happy to chat with you right after the meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Let you. No rush here. Are there any other general public comment? Okay. Seeing none, we will be going into our closed session. No anticipated action. So we will come back and adjourn, but there will be no action at that time. So thank you all for joining us tonight.
Keep track of when we get out, if you want to just go home. Cool.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll chat with her too. Oh, yeah.
I can do that.
Thank you very much.
If you get her last name.
Yeah, good deal.
my three stalwarts, appreciated. Okay, we have concluded our periodic review, and as anticipated, no action will be taken, so I'm adjourning the meeting for tonight. Have a good night, everyone.
Sorry. Good night.
Good night.